All right, let's talk about something that's kind of lurking in the shadows for a lot of businesses. I'm talking about the hidden dangers inside your network of suppliers, contractors, and partners. These risks, oh, they are very real. And honestly, they might be way closer than you think.
So you really have to ask yourself this. Are you secretly at risk from the very partners you trust? I mean, these are the folks who bring all that awesome expertise and agility to your company, but they can also be a backdoor for some pretty significant unseen vulnerabilities. The real question is, are you ready to spot them before it's too late?
Okay, let's just start with a number that should make you sit up and pay attention. 59%. Just let that sink in. That is the percentage of companies, nearly 6 out of 10, that have gone through a data breach caused by one of their third parties. So no, this is not some rare freak event. It's a massive, widespread problem that shows just how tangled up all our risks have become.
And that right there brings us to the heart of the matter, vendor compliance. It sounds kind of formal, but really, all it means is this. How well are your partners following the rules, the laws, the regulations, the ethical standards that you're also supposed to be following? Because here's the kicker. When they mess up, when they fail to comply, those consequences can land right on your doorstep.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to walk through 5 huge red flags to watch out for. And then stick around because we'll talk about how you can build your own shield, what we're calling vendor vigilance.
All right, first up, red flag number 1. This is probably the most straightforward, most obvious warning sign of them all. A vendor just can't or won't prove they're meeting the standards they claim to.
You know, the difference here is like night and day. A good, trustworthy partner, they'll have no problem showing you their homework. They'll hand over things like ISO certifications or those really important SOC 2 reports that prove their data security is up to snuff. But a red flag vendor? Suddenly they get cagey. They're either unable or more likely unwilling to share that exact same essential info.
And believe me, this isn't just about ticking boxes on some form. We're not talking about simple paperwork here. When that proof is missing, the fallout can be massive. We're talking huge fines under laws like GDPR or CCPA. We're talking legal liability. And, maybe worst of all, we're talking about serious, long-lasting damage to your brand's reputation.
Okay, so that leads us perfectly into red flag number 2, which we're calling digital dangers. Because let's be real, in the world we live in today, if your vendor's data security is weak, that's not just their problem. It's a direct threat to your entire organization.
Hey, remember that crazy statistic from the beginning? That 59%? Yeah, nearly 6 out of 10 companies have been breached because of a third party. This just hammers home how often these digital dangers pop up through partners we thought we could trust.
I mean, just think about that infamous Target data breach. It's a perfect, if painful, example. The bad guys didn't just walk through Target's front door, digitally speaking. No way. They found a weak spot. They got in through their heating and ventilation contractor, an HVAC company. It's a powerful, powerful lesson. Your security is only ever as strong as your weakest partner's security.
So at the end of the day, it's simple. A vendor's cybersecurity weakness is your weakness, period. And the fallout? It's not just some technical headache for the IT department. Oh no, it's financial, it's reputational, and it can totally destroy the trust you've worked so hard to build with your customers.
All right, red flag number 3. This one is all about looking in the rearview mirror to see what's coming. We're talking about a vendor's troubled past. You know the old saying, past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior? Well, when it comes to compliance, that is absolutely true.
Just look at the absolutely tragic Rana Plaza factory collapse. It was a horrific event that showed the entire world how one single supplier's, frankly, disgusting ethical and safety failures could not only cost lives, but also create an absolute firestorm for huge global brands. It's the ultimate proof that your vendor's past isn't just their business, it's yours too.
So what does that mean you should be doing? What does due diligence actually look like? Well, it means you've got to be a bit of a detective. You need to be actively digging for these red flags in a vendor's history. Are there regulatory fines, big lawsuits, publicly reported safety violations, any hint of fraud? A clean record isn't just nice to have, it's a huge sign of a reliable partner.
Okay, on to red flag number 4. This one is about what I call a culture of secrecy. You know the type. When a vendor seems to operate in the shadows and they push back against any kind of oversight, that is a massive, flashing red warning sign. And get this is pretty shocking. 2/3 2 out of every 3 companies admit they don't even know all the third parties that are touching their sensitive data. That is a gigantic blind spot, and it's the perfect place for a secretive, shady vendor to hide.
So if a vendor refuses to answer your questions, if they fight you on letting you conduct an audit, you just have to ask yourself one simple question. What are they hiding? Because transparency, that's the foundation of trust.
Okay, our 5th and final red flag. Now this one's a little more subtle, but trust me, it's just as dangerous. It's when a vendor has, well, no real internal foundation for compliance. It's just not part of their DNA. Check this out. Around 75% of global bribery cases involved a third-party intermediary. Think about that. That's a direct line connecting a vendor's weak internal controls to massive legal risks, like getting hit with an FCPA violation for the companies that hire them.
Look, if a vendor doesn't have anyone in charge of compliance, if they're not training their employees, if they don't have clear policies, it's screaming that following the rules just isn't a priority for them. And that lack of a solid foundation, it dramatically increases the odds that something bad, fraud, bribery, you name it, is going to happen on your behalf.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time talking about the problems, the risks, the red flags. Now, let's pivot to the solution. How do you protect yourself? Well, it's all about building a shield through what we call proactive vendor vigilance.
And let me be clear, this is not a one-person or even a one-department job. It has to be a team effort across the company. You need HR vetting vendors right from the start. You need your security chiefs, your CISOs, enforcing mandatory security checkups. And crucially, you need the folks at the top, the executives, to really champion a culture where partnering with ethical vendors is just how you do business. It's non-negotiable.
You know, it really all boils down to that classic saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Seriously, doing the hard work of vetting your vendors thoroughly up front is so much easier and a heck of a lot cheaper than trying to clean up a massive legal, financial, or reputational disaster after it's already happened.
So let's end with this one final thought. Your vendors aren't just vendors. They're an extension of your business. They become a part of your story. So the question you have to answer is, are they a source of strength or are they your weakest link?